Welcome to another episode of the Antifragility Reframe podcast, where struggles become strength and stress fuels growth. I'm Dr. Frank L. Douglas, your host, and my guest today is Mr. Ken Cox. He is a serial entrepreneur and an AI consultant, a best-selling author, and in fact has a new book coming out, Loading Identity. Mr. Cox, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Frank. Appreciate your time.
As I usually do, I ask my guests to start off by telling us a little bit about their journey, particular aspects of their journey that really led them to do what they're presently doing.
Okay. We only have 15 minutes, so I'll cut right to the chase. I've been in the data center industry since 1999. I grew up, we'll call it rough and tumble, and computers and small business owners, those two things together saved my life. I'm late stage diagnosed autistic, grew up dyslexic, and a whole bunch of other terrible words that they called me and put me in the special school district. And fast forward to today, AI comes out, hits the market. I'm at the very forefront of it. I had gone to MIT for AI for business, and I had built websites for thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of companies, some of the biggest companies on our planet. I've been involved in the infrastructure for. So AI naturally adopted into our company and have been using it, since day one. And that's where I'm currently at in my journey. And I've been having a ton of fun this year helping companies understand how to change their mindset, work with AI to really expand their current business instead of this concept of replacing employees. I think that's a bad mindset to have. It's how do we expand, and how do we use AI to fill our gaps and be bigger and better.
So you're already involved in helping people to shift their perspectives with respect to AI, because all we hear is AI is going to take your job. And you are dealing with it from how
AI
do
is going to take a lot of jobs. Yeah, it's going to take a lot of jobs that nobody likes doing anyway.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
But it's also given humanity a superpower to do whatever they do. And if, what I know about conflict, that is if we keep the mindset of we're going to battle this thing, and this thing is more powerful than we are
Mhm.
in most cases. And I know battling things that are stronger than me, I'd rather work with them than against them. But if I can adopt, how do I work with this technology? How do I, because it's not going to stop. It's not going to go away. No amount of protests are going to
Mhm.
make this thing go away.
So
So
how
how
do
do
you
we embrace it
recommend?
and
How
use
do
it?
you recommend we work with it?
Embrace it and use it, right? This is my entire concept of loading identity was how do you use AI to become a superpower? And I think right now, what everybody on our planet should be doing is what were my dreams when I was a kid? What did I want to be? What do I want to do with my life? What do I want to do with my time? The transition from where we're at to where we're going is going to be bumpy for a lot of people. But if they have the mindset of I can do anything that I want to do with this technology, the barrier to entry to have a business is so low today that I think the American dream needs to move from full-time employment with a house and kids to I own my own business with a wife and kids, and if I own my house or not, but owning your own business is where I think it's got to go for most people.
Mhm. And you have an approach which has to do with ideas. You want to tell us a bit about that?
Oh, the ideas framework, yeah, like compute has been part of my lifeblood since the age of 7 years old. Right, I've been on a computer for my entire life. And it's always been very objective. What goes in comes out, right? And you can always logic out the process. But as we move forward and we get into AI and compute changed, how we compute changed drastically. And it goes more into how the brain works. And you have a whole bunch of computer scientists that have been using objective programming for a very long time, trying to teach people how to use AI. And it's the wrong approach. So I came up with the ideas framework, which is just know what your intention is. And that might just be learning and having some fun. Dump.
And that's
Give
the
it.
I. And that's the I in
That's the
idea.
I intent.
Yeah.
What's my intent of this conversation that I'm having?
Mhm.
We type way slower than we talk. So, I teach all of my students, as much as you can, move to talking to your computer with your human voice than with your keyboard, because the thought process of that transition is slowing you down dramatically. And the way we compute now can handle that. So, and then dump, give it as much information as you can,
Mhm.
right? Once you've done that, then you're going to iterate on, okay, maybe now I have 10 different intentions with this conversation. I'm going to divvy those out into different ones, and I'm going to continue down this one path. And that's the E, elaborate, adjust, right? Make your final adjustments, and then syndicate, which is what I think most people aren't doing on our planet today. You have to publish your work, right? You've done all this work and it's good stuff. You publish it. It might be wrong, and you might get some hate, but chances are you might open somebody's perspective to something a little bit different. And be honest with how you came up with it. Don't try to hide what you're doing. And I think if more people are doing that, they'll see the power behind the tools that we have today.
As we think about facing stress, disruption, how do you see using AI to help us deal with, major changes and stress? AI itself is a disruption. That's the matter.
Yeah, it is. And, luckily, ChatGPT's got its HIPAA verified system that's coming out, and it's in beta right now. It's not up to everybody. We have all the greatest knowledge from all the best psychologists and sociologists on the planet built into these AIs. So the thought process behind every person in the world can have an AI therapist that is at the highest level of the greatest therapist on the planet. We can make that available to everybody, and we should. Then if the people that choose to use the technology as a partner will use it as a partner, and then they will have the greatest psychologist ever built right there in their pocket, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. As I said, I grew up rough and tumble. I've been in therapy since the age of 7. And I can promise you, my therapist has not always been there when I needed him, but my AI therapist has.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that I said to 2, 3 years ago, I said to a colleague of mine how much things like medical school and how we're trained will change. Because instead of having to memorize all these things to come up in differential diagnosis, it's all there.
Yes.
So, we then really are going to spend more time on how we think, how we synthesize, etc., because the information is there. The correlations, AI can do that in seconds. And so, I'm just excited with all of the possibilities for AI in the area of health.
Health and wellness, what they're doing with AlphaFold at Google is nothing short of extraordinary, right? This is great technology. Looks like magic, and the stuff looks like magic.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So this is very fringe, right? AlphaFold is an AI that has been trained on all of the proteins on the planet, right? And it can and DNA, and it can accurately predict what will happen to a DNA strain if one of the pieces in the DNA is changed, which is something humanity hasn't had before. It can also look at proteins and understand how we can manipulate different proteins. So this is you see right now the peptide industry is blowing up, right? And AI makes these different kinds of changes
Yes.
so much faster that we can see,
Yes.
right? And we
And
can
the thing is,
visualize it.
and the thing is that you can actually do them via the AI and mimic what might happen. Really do what I like to call the Gedanken type experiments, but not just in thought, but actually simulate what could happen. And AI can make all the changes of these proteins and have them interact with active sites, etc. It's just awfully exciting.
Yeah, some things that they found recently are profound. That the jellyfish fluid that makes the highlighter marker and the protein inside of turkey that makes us tired both live in a quantum state at room temperature. And I say those things out loud and I can't even comprehend what that means for humanity long term.
Mhm.
And we've known about these things for all of human existence.
Yeah.
We
So
just didn't know
tell,
that they hold that state.
so as we're about to close, what are two or three um, uh, I call it principles or let's say nuggets as we think about AI and using AI you would like to leave with us?
Um, for AI specifically, it's scary. Acknowledge that it's scary, breathe, and move forward. Look at it as a partner, right? Try to really embrace it. If you're not comfortable with the mega companies sharing your data, learn how to use private models. I've got a model called primary.net that we never sell or use your data. That's very, very important. And if you don't want to trust the big companies, learn how to get a local AI and really share a lot of your data with it, and then have conversations with it. And I think if people do that in a real meaningful way, they'll be wildly surprised.
Mhm. Thank you very much. And this has been really very exciting. I tell people when they ask me, if you were younger, uh, what would you like to do? I said, if I were younger, I would just be sitting with my AI in the chemistry lab.
Yeah, playing with stuff.
Yes, that's what
Yeah.
I'm doing. Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Cox. This has been really very illuminating.
Thank you, Dr. Frank.